If you've ever stared into a forest at night and felt it staring back, you're not crazy. Some things live in the silence. They don't chase you. They wait. This story was sent to me by a man named Daniel Carter, 29, from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. He wasn't some thrill seeker or ghost hunter. He worked remotely as a manuscript editor for a publishing house in Dallas. Moved back home last October to care for his MOM after knee surgery. What he thought would be a quiet return to small-town peace became something else entirely. Daniel says he lasted just 3 nights in that house, and after what he saw, he hasn't set foot in Pine Bluff again. Daniel used to love the woods as a kid. I'd spend all day back there with my brother, building forts and getting lost on purpose. But something's different now. It's like the trees were breathing, watching, and not in a comforting way. His mom's house sat about a mile of the highway, right where the pavement gives way to gravel and pine needles. One of those old, ranch-style homes with a cracked porch swing and a light that flickered no matter how many times you changed the bulb. Daniel arrived in the afternoon. By sunset, he was alone, his MOM fast asleep, exhausted from physical therapy. It was quiet, too quiet. Around 10:15 p.m., Daniel stepped outside for a smoke. He leaned on the porch railing, staring out at the familiar tree line that bordered their backyard. Then he heard it. A loud crack, not a twig, not leaves, a branch, thick and deliberate, snapping under weight. He paused, squinting into the dark. There was no movement, but the air shifted, like something had been there, and slipped back into the trees. He stubbed his cigarette out and went inside. Didn't sleep well that night. A small village. A cat named Whiskers discovered a magic fish in a pond. The fish promised 3 wishes in sun. The next night, Daniel came out earlier, around 9:45. The woods were still, not silent in the natural way. No wind, no insects, no owls, just paused. I remember thinking it was like the whole forest was holding its breath, and then he saw it, roughly 40 feet back in the tree line, a tall shape. At first, he assumed it was an oddly spaced tree trunk, but then it shifted, not walked, not ran. It tilted its head, turning slowly toward him. I swear, I could feel it looking right through me. It didn't move like a person. It didn't move like anything I've ever seen. He stepped back, and the figure took a single, slow step forward. Daniel went inside, locked the door, checked every window. He sat on the couch all night with a fire poker in his hand and the living room lamp on. The next morning, he told Deputy Rourke, an old school sheriff's deputy with a deep voice, no time for ghost stories. Probably just a hunter passing through, or drunk. Rourke said, "This town's been strange ever since the mill shut down. Stay inside after dark." But Daniel knew that wasn't a hunter. It wasn't drunk. It wasn't even human. Night 3 was the one that broke him. Around 11:20 p.m., Daniel had just finished doing dishes. His MOM was already in bed. Then 3 knocks at the front door. Slow, precise, hollow. He froze. No one ever came to the house that late. The neighbors lived half a mile away, and besides, he hadn't heard a car. He crept toward the door, looked through the peephole. Nothing. But when he turned away, knock, 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 he looked again. Now there was something, a shape impossibly tall, nearly scraping the porch ceiling, facing the door, just far enough away to blur under the porch light. He didn't move, didn't breathe, just stared. Then, without knocking again, it vanished. No footsteps. No. Shadow. Gone. Daniel stepped out with a flashlight. I knew it was a mistake, but something pulled me. Curiosity, or maybe fear. And that's when I saw them. 3 figures, standing in the open field just beyond the backyard, lined up, perfectly still. Their proportions were all wrong, too long, too narrow, like humans stretched through static. He ran back inside. Daniel turned on every light, grabbed a knife, and sat by the back door, listening. At 12:41 a.m., the power cut out. He sat in complete darkness for nearly 2 hours, until a sound sent chills down his spine. A whisper from the back window. Low, raspy, almost curious. Daniel, come back. He couldn't breathe. He wanted to scream, but his body would respond. Then just outside the window, a silhouette passed. Not walking, not stepping. It glided at dawn. The power returned. The lights flickered back. So did his Wi-Fi. The sheriff came again. There were no footprints. No signs of entry. Nothing. But one thing remained, written in ash on the front porch, in a childlike scrawl. Welcome back. Daniel left that afternoon. He packed a single bag, left a note for his MO, and drove straight to his cousin's place in Little Rock. He hasn't gone back since. He barely even talks about it. Until Halloween night, at exactly 12:01 a.m., Daniel got a text from an unknown number. It had no words, just a photo. It was a shot of his mother's house, porch light glowing, and at the edge of the trees 3 tall shadows, staring. Some things don't follow you. They wait, and sometimes the place you thought was your refuge is where they've been hiding all along. Daniel's story is a reminder that silence doesn't always mean peace, and the dark doesn't always mean empty. He says the scariest part isn't that they found him. It's that they've been there all along, watching since he was a child. He just didn't know what he was looking at until it stared back. I thought leaving Pine Bluff would keep me safe. It didn't. Last Halloween, I got a photo from a number I didn't recognize. No message, just an image. It was of my mom's house, porch light dim, front yard empty, but at the tree line, 3 tall shadows stood, still, silent, and one of them was inside the barn. We hadn't used that barn in years. No one had keys, not even my MO. That's when I realized something followed me. Or maybe it had been waiting all along. I wasn't going alone. My cousin David came with me, ex-Navy. Skeptical of everything. He thought I was being paranoid. Maybe someone playing a prank. Could be local kids, he said. Or Tyler messing with you. Tyler's dead, man. You went to his funeral. We arrived at dusk. The house hadn't changed. Same chipped paint. Same sagging porch swing. Same flickering bulb that never stayed fixed. The barn, still sealed tight, but the lock on it wasn't trusted like I remembered. It was new. David muttered, "That's not right." David pried the doors open with a crowbar. The smell hit instantly. Rot, dust, something deeper like wet stone and rusted iron. Inside was exactly as I remembered it. Old equipment, cord rope, hay bales flattened with time, but something had been there. There were deep footprints in the dirt floor, bare, long-toed, and sunken. They led toward the far wall, which had deep carvings I had never seen, symbols, sharp-edged. Some looked almost like runes, but distorted, twisted, Daniel narrated. I recognized one of them from a dream I had as a kid, waking up in the woods alone. Then David kicked something under the hay. It was a phone. Old model. Screen shattered. Battery swollen. We charged it in the car. It had only one image. Grainy, taken through a window. It was me, standing on my mom's porch. The timestamp was from 2 nights ago. We tore the barn apart, and then beneath a folded tarp, behind a stack of rotten plywood, we found it. A hatch, steel, bolted shut, fused with rust. The handle was ice cold. David looked at me. This wasn't here before. No, we forced it open. The stench rose like a wave, musty, ancient, layered with rot. Inside was a narrow staircase made of stone, spiraling into the dark. We grabbed flashlights and went down. Every step echoed. The walls were lined with old brick. Roots twisted through the ceiling like veins. About 40 feet in, the air changed. Cooler, still. Then we saw them. Photos. Hundreds of them, maybe more, strung from wires like laundry. Each one pinned, with rusty nails. Every photo was of us. David in middle school. Me riding a bike at age 9. My MOM in the garden, all taken from a distance. Through windows, from the woods, across time. The newest ones were recent. David at the gas station last week. Me asleep in my cousin's living room. The realization hit hard. They've been watching us for decades. No, David said. They've been living with us. Then we heard it. A dragging sound, like something heavy scraping over stone, followed by a wet slap. Then another. The tunnel beyond the gallery was darker, narrower. Something was coming from it. We killed our lights. Silence, then a voice. Male, low, guttural, almost curious. Danielle, I whispered. That wasn't you. David didn't respond. Something scraped inches from us. I could feel it, hear it breathing. I flicked the flashlight back on 10 feet ahead stood a figure, 7 feet tall, skin stretched, limbs too long, face smooth and empty except for the mouth wide and smiling. It raised a long hand. You came back, we ran. No plan, no thought, back to the ladder. David reached it first and yanked the hatch open, but something slammed it shut again. We were trapped. The creature moved without sound, gliding rather than walking. David swung the crowbar, crack striking its shoulder. It let out a screech. That shook the walls. I climbed. David followed. I reached the top and shoved my weight into the hatch. It budged barely. Then light poured in. The hatch creaked open. We scrambled into the barn and slammed it shut behind us. But the scratching continued beneath, and then it stopped. We didn't waste time. We drove 10 minutes into the highway. Headlights appeared behind us. Black. Pickup. No license plate. High beams on. It matched every turn. Stayed 50 feet behind. Should we stop? David asked. No, we turned onto an old back road. The truck didn't follow, but 2 minutes later bang. The engine stalled. David got out, swearing. I stayed in the car. Then I saw him, a man, standing at the edge of the trees, pale, grinning. He raised a hand and pointed to the barn miles away, then disappeared into the woods. Back home, I confronted Emma. Her face went white when I told her about the hatch. You never went down there, right? We did. No, he sealed it. Your father sealed it. She pulled out an old photo album. One picture stood out. 4 people, my dad, my uncle, a neighbor named Eli, and something behind them, a tall black figure barely visible in the shadows. That man Eli disappeared 2 weeks later. She said, that was the year your father stopped sleeping. Why didn't you tell me? She looked at me, because I thought we were free. I went through Dad's old toolbox that night. Inside, I found a notebook, not words, just drawings. The same symbols carved in the barn. One drawing showed a door under the earth, with children surrounding it. Another showed a figure standing behind a family. The caption in his shaky writing said, it doesn't want to be forgotten. It lives. Where memory dies, the last page was a map, a line drawn from the barn to the well behind the neighbor's property, and one word circled in red. Offering 2 nights ago, I got another photo on my phone, this time. There were no shadows, no figures, just a picture of me and David asleep taken from inside the room, same position, same blanket, same nightlight, only this time there was something new. A handwritten note, placed on my pillow, visible in the image. Welcome back, watcher, to be continued. Like the video, subscribe for part 2, and whatever you do, don't look too long into the trees part 2. The watcher's mark coming soon. Don't leave your door unlocked tonight. They're already inside.